My name is Aaron Jones, and I'm the President and CEO of IPS Global Aviation. IPS is a company that truly cares. We put our heart and soul into this organization. We operate 24 hours a day.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Creative Kill. My name is John Roberts, and today I'm us. What's up, everybody? Hold on, let me go again. It's an early morning. We're just getting there. What is up, everybody? This is John here with Creative Kill, and we are back with episode 8. And we are today. I'm joined by
Dizzy Lokes,
the
one and only,
and we have Melissa Velasco. Hey, Melissa, how you doing today?
So good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Melissa's an author. We're going to get into her stuff real quick here in a second, but first, let's go ahead and plug our sponsors, guys. And the first sponsor today we want to thank is the City of Albuquerque. Thank you, City of Albuquerque and 519 Studios. You guys are amazing here. Comcast, all of you guys that help support us and help support the Creative Kill Show. We really, really appreciate you guys. This is an amazing studio. You guys are nothing short of the best of it. The second sponsor we're going to get into today is Joy Horror Entertainment. That is Michael Joy. Michael Joy has a horror marketing company, and what he does is he helps market smaller projects and even bigger projects. He helped out the guys with Terrifier and stuff like that, but he helps get your brand off the ground, and he's actually doing all of this. It's kind of like what we do with our products. He's helping us for free. Obviously, when we get bigger, he's gonna fill in, but he does all the advertising for Creative Kill. So thank you, Mike. Thank you, Joy Horror Entertainment. You guys are awesome. Our third sponsor today, guys, is going to be our main sponsor, and that is IPS Global Security. IPS Global Security provides alarms, cameras, access control, security guards, response services. Ben and I got into it a little earlier, Dizzy, but I mean, when you see those IPS guys, when you go into the stores, I mean, I'm sure you've seen them too, Melissa,
Absolutely.
Right? Those guys are a class act.
Yeah.
I mean, they look the part.
Definitely.
And so when I walk in and you think of, and I used to own a security company, but when you walk in and you see those guys, you feel like you're secure. Am I right? I mean, those guys are top notch, nothing short of the best. So thank you, Aaron Jones, and thank you, IPS Global. They are our main sponsors. And our final sponsor today, and it's really not a sponsor, but we like to plug products on our show that has to do with indie horror and kind of like anybody that's in the horror business. It's kind of like Melissa here. She writes her novels. But we have our new game today, and we're going to put it up here. It's called Serial Killer. And Ben and I cut a little promo earlier for Happy's episode, but I got to tell you guys, I opened it last night.
Is it good? I know it's good.
I'm sorry I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, and the mic, my bad. We still in allergy season, everybody, so you may hear a little congestion. But yeah, no, it is good. And so I had my mom and my dad play it with us, and it's like Cards Against Humanity. So this is the way I can give you the example. So you have the player card, and then everybody gets the answer cards, right? Just like Cards Against Humanity. And so the player card, my mom pulled one. It said, "My asshole boss." And so then the rest of the player cards, we get a way to murder your asshole boss.
Wow.
Right? And then it's like Cards Against Humanity. So if you have the asshole boss, all these people submit their cards in, and they read how you want to kill them, and the best card to that person wins. And so that's how you win the game. And it's just like kind of a Cards Against Humanity style game. And so I got to tell you, the packaging of this thing is amazing. The cards look amazing. Everything in the back. Check them out, guys. They're from a company called Venom Haas, and Venom Haas is on our Instagram. We promote their stuff now, but we have a really, really great new partnership and collaboration with Venom Haas and serial killers. So get online and buy their product, guys, because I'm going to tell you, it's a lot of fun. We went over it. We're going to have actually a creative kill game night that will be coming soon that we'll shoot. We've got a couple of little special things we're going to do before episode 12, which is going to be our last episode on this run of wonderful episodes before we move to another platform. And I really can't make that announcement right now, but I'm going to tell you, it's very, very exciting about what's happening with Creative Kill. Yeah. So we are so happy. So anyway, let's just jump right into it. What's up, Melissa? How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So everybody, Melissa is we're going to let her kind of tell us a little bit about herself here in a minute, but she is an author, and she writes, we'll let her get in, but she writes books that are in the horror genre. It's right down our lane, but they're more geared towards to younger people. Right. And so Melissa, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the big three questions. And then after that, we'll get to your story and we'll get to your books. Okay.
Excellent.
All right.
I am Melissa Velasco. I'm a choreographer, a university professor in dance history, which I know is odd.
Dance history.
And I'm an author and a stage manager. So I've been in the arts pretty much my entire life. I grew up in a family that strongly encouraged art.
That's amazing.
And yeah, it's a way to hustle, right? We got to pay the bills.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right. And you had said, okay, so I'm going to tell everybody what happened yesterday. We shot the complete episode with Melissa.
We did.
All right. And it was amazing, except for we had a technical difficulty. So once technical difficulties kind of happened in this business, we posted some stuff on our social media last night saying it was our live rehearsal.
It was so good, though.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
We did. And Melissa was nothing short of fantastic, but we're going to try to redo what we did yesterday. So we did have a rehearsal, but Melissa, you grew up in LA, right?
I did.
Okay. And then after LA, you went to, did you come here directly?
I went up to Northern California for some college time and then came here.
Was that in San Francisco or where?
I was in Chico,
California.
Yes,
Okay.
we like to party.
Oh yeah. All your people in Chico. There you go, Melissa. And then when did you get out here to the land of entrapment?
Came out here in 2000.
In 2000. Okay.
Oh, so you're pretty much New Mexican
Yes,
now.
I'm native at this point. I'm a native New Mexican.
Yep.
And you're native, right? You're native New Mexican, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That's
Born
what I
and
thought.
raised.
Not me. I'm like a gypsy. You know, I was born in California and I moved around all my life. But I had dad in the military. I had mom that, she worked for the phone company, so she got transferred a bunch. But yeah, it was quite an experience. But I got to tell you that my experience since living here in Albuquerque, being in the film industry and the entertainment industry, we're meeting a lot of cool people. And when Melissa reached out to us, guys, she was like, "Listen, I've got this set of novels, and I want to plug." My mom was like, "Get on, we're gonna bring her on. She's awesome. Like all of this it's really, really cool, and especially for our audience members that have younger." Like the children and kids, teenager kids especially.
Teens,
yeah. These books, guys, when we get into them, they're gonna you need to get them. They're great. And so we'll get on it. So Melissa, we do a set of 3 big questions for every single guest when we first start, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the first question. Melissa, what is your favorite horror movie?
Favorite horror movie? I hope this counts because it's more of a psychological thriller, but Rear Window, but the 1950s Alfred Hitchcock, I must stress.
Yes.
I love that movie because I have a little bit of a voyeuristic kink, if you will, but more toward life itself. And so there's this idea of these people that are in this apartment and they're kind of stuck there due to circumstances.
Right. Yeah.
And they just find themselves watching, and it starts off so innocent. And then you just rabbit hole down into that thing we all do, and assumptions and fears, and all of a sudden they're judging people, and there's all these things happening that are not their business. But there's something about going along for that ride, because we all have a little bit of that tendency, even when we try to mind our business.
Oh, no, 100%. I'm a snooper.
I'm nosy as hell.
I'll
be one to admit it. I'm nosy as hell.
Yeah. No. I kind of tell you, I've got a neighbor that he's got some issues, and he constantly likes to bring his drama out in the middle of the street.
Perfect.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's probably got some substance abuse issues, some mental health stuff. But there's been the police over at his place a couple of times, that kind of situation. So how is it?
He's like sweeping his lawn.
Yeah,
I was gonna say I'm vacuuming the ceiling when shit happens. I'm
Yeah,
just
no. Yeah, that's I walk out. I'm like, I gotta fill the bird bath.
Yeah.
And I'm
There
filling it
is.
for like an hour.
Those birds are important.
They are important, but yeah, no. Rear Window is one of my favorites too. Hitchcock, obviously, his camera work in that. I kind of went over after you talked about it. I looked at a little more stuff last night. Man, it was because if you look back at that generation, you're right. They are so kind of pure. They all look, it's that 50s, 60s style, where they're all suited up and they all look so clean
They're
and nice.
iron
Looks like
dresses.
Pleasantville.
Yeah, Pleasantville, exactly.
Stepford
So
Wives.
yeah, we love Rear Window, man. That's awesome. Go ahead, Dizzy. Next
All right. So out of all the horror movie genres and, from slasher films to just straight, horror movies, who is your favorite villain?
Okay, I'm going to give you another old school answer.
Okay.
I like Dracula.
All right.
And I like him because
Okay.
there is something incredibly charismatic about him. And I like the kind of psychological mind play of a guy so sexy that you chase after him and then thank him for killing you. It's so hot.
Well, it happens both ways too, because I got to tell you, there's been some female vampires. I'm like, yeah, I'd let her bite
Yeah,
me.
absolutely.
I'd let her
No
bite me
problem.
10 times. I'd let her suck my blood all night long. You know what I mean? It's like it is funny because it's that whole like, he sucks you and he's just like, come on, eat.
Right.
And then next thing you know, you're
And
just,
it's worth it.
it's 100% worth it. Especially, well, and again, we kind of went over this yesterday, but we were touching on it. Me and Tori. Tori couldn't be with us today, but I was like, yeah, do you remember when Gerard Butler played Dracula 2000? She's like, oh yeah, I'd let him did that to me all the time.
No problem. What a way to go.
Yeah. What a way to go. I like, Dracula 2000, Gerard Butler. Tori she'll talk to you all day. No, anyway, I'm speaking for Tori here. Anyway, Dracula, we went through Dracula. A couple of guests have told us Dracula.
Yeah.
And obviously he is the guy. He's the goat of vampires, right? It's Bram Stoker did the movie. Obviously Francis Ford Coppola did the movie. It's one of my favorites. One of my top 5. I got to tell you, I was talking about top 5 yesterday. I was in my top 5. One of them is Get Out, but Bram Stoker's Dracula is one of my top 5 favorite horror movies of all time. And it's just because it's so cinematic, the way it's shot, the way the actors. Obviously, you got Keanu, Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder. I mean, we can just go down the list. Oh, Anthony Hopkins plays Van Helsing. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and Gary Oldman, I got to tell you, his Dracula, because they do that whole swing in the beginning. He's the old Dracula, he looks all crazy with that big hair, But when he goes over and he gets the top hat and he's like pimp Dracula, like the long. I am not gay, guys, but I would let that man suck my neck because he was like, no, and the way he talks, he's just like, it's Gary Oldman again. I kind of am in love with the guy. I got a man crush on that guy because he's been one of my favorite actors since I watched The Professional back in the day. I don't know if you guys know that. Yeah, The Professional, and then obviously he played Drexel. Drexel's one of my favorite characters in True Romance. The drug dealer, the white drug dealer. When you look at the back of that backstory about that is pretty cool. But yeah, Dracula is one of my favorites. And so our third question now, Mel, is. We all have that one horror movie that's stuck with us, something that's kind of creeped us out our whole life. And we always like to know what horror movie has stuck with you your whole life that just gave you the heebie-jeebies or just kind of psychologically fucked you up. You know what I'm saying? What you got?
My answer is Saw. And the reason behind that is I love a psychological thriller a great deal. I also love blood, guts, and gore. When I watch a movie, if it's too sweet, I'm like, somebody needs to die or I'm turning it
You're
off.
like, what is this PG-13 shit?
Right.
Exactly.
No,
But
exactly.
that movie took it to a level where there was no way out and there was no hope. And I need those moments where there's a moment of hope where you can kind of inhale and you go, oh, we got a shot, we're running. And there's never that. So for me, it was just like this slow decline into like, this is exactly what would happen to me.
Yeah.
I would get kidnapped and put in that disgusting bathroom, and I would deal with this. This would be my life.
Yeah, we kind of
Too close to home.
we touched on it yesterday, Dizzy. One of my things about that, and we said it yesterday. I mean, the villain's there the whole time.
Yeah, because he was laying on the
And if
floor.
you haven't seen Saw, we're sorry.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, spoiler alert! Guess
been a
what?
while. It's been out a while.
Yeah. You're behind the game or whatever they say. Yeah, no, it's like he's there the whole time, Diz.
Yep.
And Mel, and then the other thing is that I touched on this too. It's the having to cut your own foot off
Right.
situation, and we all talked about this. It's like. It's the 127 hours. What you had said yesterday. What does he do? He cuts his arm off. With a
Yeah,
pocket
or,
knife?
no, he cut. Yeah, with the one that had the clip accident.
yeah,
He
yeah,
cut
yeah.
it off with a little Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, with the Swiss Army knife, or any kind of situation where you're put in that where you've got to make this life or death decision, and it's like, and then it's obviously it's Saw. Yeah, that's and just looking at that whole, it's so unsanitary.
So
And you know what?
gross.
We didn't touch on this when we were talking about it yesterday, but I think the killer Saw, Jigsaw, I thought it was such an interesting motive for him to do what he was doing, right? Because he had the cancer. It made him
Right.
appreciate his life better. He started noticing people that didn't appreciate their life, that were ungrateful. They were, you know.
Some of them were like pieces of shit too.
Yeah.
weren't they like
Some of them were getting their karma for sure.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, I kind of like those too. I like it when you see they portray a character and you're like, I don't want that fucker to die, and guess what? And then it just kind of, I talked about this, but they kind of jumped the shark after a certain amount. I mean, it's obviously a studio film, so there's a cash crop for them. And people love to watch that kind of campy. Like, that first one wasn't that campy. It was very intense. It was
yes.
very realistic. We were all just like, what did we just
No,
watch?
they blew the roof off with the
Yeah,
first one.
and then it just got a little more elaborate with the kills and everything going on moving forward, like bear traps on people's heads, and there's so many that I can't even get. But we also referred to like Hostel, what we were talking about. It's like
Great
generation
series.
of films. It was kind of like these super cool, uber violent psychological things that could happen to you.
Yeah.
It's not like a vampire or a werewolf or seeing some Bigfoot or whatever.
Yeah.
It's actually like, this person could kidnap you and they could actually do this shit
Yeah.
to you. And
there is people that do
feasible.
shit like that.
Yeah.
You know?
No, exactly. We were talking about it. It's like the 1%ers said that probably have these clubs. Like, we're not getting conspiracy theory driven, but it's like I would suspect over in the Eastern Bloc of this world that there's probably some pretty sick shit that happens with some of these people, or even in the in some places where there's some dictatorships and stuff like that. I think that obviously art reflects life, and then you see these things, but you do hear about serial killers and other people that do these, they put these people in basements and they do stuff. And that's why Saw was so great, because it wasn't like this, we're going to take this elaborate, killing part. It was just like, here you go, cut your leg off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they narrowed the options down to one, and it always sucked. And you didn't even know at that point if you were going to make it or not.
Right.
And they blurred the line so beautifully, too well.
Right.
They blurred that line between reality and fiction
Yeah.
in that story so effectively that they blurred me out of the franchise.
Right,
which is a shame. It's very rare that I can't gut up. I'm a pretty tough broad.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you.
No, it's
That one I was like, I'm out.
I get
Give.
one of my things is, and I just touched on it, but where I get like these, I don't want to watch that moment, it's where somebody's got to inflict harm to themselves. There's a couple things in film I'm not very too keen on watching, and one of them is like SA or sexual assault, like stuff like that. I'm not a big fan of, I understand why it's got to be in the film at some point in time to kind of maybe some kind of character
8
development.
millimeter did that to me.
8 millimeter. Holy shit! I gotta.
8 millimeters.
Okay, I'm gonna tell a story, and I'm probably gonna get in trouble with my mom. if she ever sees this
Perfect.
episode, I don't know. I saw 8mm on acid.
Nice.
That would be
I
rough.
was in my 20s, and I have a friend. I'm not going to name his name, but you know who you are.
It wasn't
Big Dog.
me.
Big Dog. It wasn't Dizzy. This was back in Dallas, and my friend got a hold of some acid, and I had done it one time before, and we were just like, "Hey, we should go see a movie." And then he was like, "Have you heard about this new Nicolas Cage movie called 8mm?" And I was like, "Yeah, kind of." It's like, "Isn't it about like some kind of murder or something?" He's like, "Yeah." That scene at the end with, I think the character's name is Machine, where he's walking up and he's trying to go in, and he starts playing the rock music. It gets all intense and crazy. I freaked out so bad at that part. I had to get up and walk outside, and I was just like, I didn't even see. And it wasn't even a bad trip. It was just so intense, and I was just like, when you're on psychedelics or something like that, you're kind of a little spacey anyway, and then your imagination's obviously running. But it was the music too. It's like whenever they score a film or they score something, and you're just like this, you know what I mean? So yeah, no, the 8mm. That's my story about 8mm. Everybody, and big bub, you know who you are. Thank you for that experience. Yeah,
He scared the shit out of him. He never touched it again after
No,
that.
he stayed through the whole thing. I was literally outside smoking a cigarette like this, like, what the fuck?
Watching your cigarette bend and
You
shit.
know, yeah. It was, just.
You're like, wait, this is way more entertaining than the movie.
No, actually,
safer.
it was
Definitely
tracers,
safer.
dude. We would go like this with the cigarette, and you'd just be like, look. Anyway, we're not going to get into that. Well, we do not promote drugs on this. Do not do drugs, kids.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's that. But back to Saw. Yeah, Saw was. It's been a pretty crazy franchise. I know the last one just got scrapped.
It was Jigsaw, right?
Yeah, something. Yeah, Saw X times.
Sometimes
10.
I don't think certain characters don't need a origin backstory.
Yeah.
I think
don't
it was
wanna
better off
know.
to leave it as like, from that point of the story till present day.
Yeah, and I don't mind like a whole movie about a backstory. I'm with you on that. It kind of gets like, okay, we are pulling everything out of this cash crop we could possibly get, right? Well, my thing is, if you touch on his backstory, maybe in the film at some point in time,
Yeah, like little flashbacks or something.
things.
Not a whole ass movie though.
Right,
Just
right.
This was Jigsaw when he was 5 and he hated eating his vegetables. Like, what piece of shit? We don't need to know that about him.
Mikey likes it, and that was Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. All right. Well, that was Saw was great. Well, thank you for answering those questions for us because we love our guests. It's kind of like we just had your show's following up with a great actor, Happy Anderson. We talked about his. His was Poltergeist, and then he went. He went his and you guys watch the episode because it's going to air before this one. But he had like there was a movie back in the 80s called Shocker. Do you guys remember that? It was like about a slasher that uses electricity to.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
I gotta see it now.
I was gonna say I think I watched the wrong Shocker.
Yeah.
Because it had nothing to do with electricity.
But was it shocking?
For the person, yeah. I would assume it was.
That's funny. I like that joke. That was a good one. Oh my gosh. All right. Okay, now Melissa, it's time to. So we also ask all of our guests at this point in the interview. Have you ever had anything kind of scary or creepy or something, an incident that ever happened to you? We ask you supernatural, true crime, obviously, or if you worked on a horror set or whatever, but we want to know, do you have a story that's kind of, out there and creepy? So
I do. I have quite a few of them, but one comes to mind that I think I won't get in trouble for telling. I was in that 20-ish age range, where you have freedom, but you're also stupid.
Right.
And I was particularly so. And so a group of us got together. Somebody had a Ouija board. It seemed like a great idea in the worst possible way, which was an all-in for us night. And they got it all set up. Fingers went on the placard, and I had already had bad experiences with these things previous, but live and learn and don't live and learn.
So
I guess.
obviously you've been playing with Ouija boards for a while.
You're
like I did a couple warm ups before we had the big seance. No, just kidding.
I'd done a little of this, and things started moving quick. Energy shift happened.
Yeah.
And the fingers went off the placard, and everybody released it, and it kept going. And I thought, I'm sober, and this is actually happening. And that bad boy shot off that board, and then the candles on the mantle flared, and I thought, I can't.
Oh my Lord.
And cabinets started slamming, and that's when we booked it outside, because what are you gonna do? And I was pretty irate at this point, because I was like, was this necessary?
Right.
We heard shrieking from an animal, and
Oh,
the
my
cabinets eventually
gosh.
stopped slamming.
Wow.
We go back inside, and the cat's dead on the living room floor, and I was like,
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
Wow.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
and it's so stereotypically movie-like
Yeah.
that it's almost a disappointing story until it happens to you, and you're like, we're in this.
No, until you actually see something
Yeah.
like that. And you touched on this yesterday, but Dizzy, talk about where the Ouija board came. You were like,
Yeah, so the Ouija board did get popular around that time, and one of the biggest toy makers,
Yeah.
right, ever, Hasbro,
yeah,
made their own Ouija boards that glue in the dark,
yeah, and they
and
distributed.
they
them.
distributed
Yeah.
millions
When
of them all over the world.
lights go out and the
Yeah.
phantom sucks all the energy, you can still see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
no.
smart.
Yeah, I've played with the Ouija board a couple times. I never really had a crazy experience, but I have friends that they deep dive into the whole like and we were talking about so they call them botanicas or Santeria or whatever, but it's not. I mean, they do all different kinds of, whatever their culture, their spiritual stuff is. But and they tell me stories about they have these botanicas, which are like stores where you can go in and buy crystals and buy candles and and they have Ouija boards too, and it's fun. It's what did you say yesterday? It was a kind of a fuck around find
Yeah,
out
we
moment.
hit the find out phase, and
Right.
I gotta tell you, like as much as I want to be supportive, and I recognize that these things have their spots.
Yeah.
The fact that these things are sold at grocery stores is absolutely ludicrous.
Yeah.
I saw one, and then
It's weird.
yeah, I saw one like at a because I like to. I'm a big thrifter.
Sure.
I like to go garage
Oh,
sailing.
don't thrift one.
Yeah. No. Yeah, no. And then I kind of been doing this thing where I put out a Craigslist ad. I know Craigslist is still there, people. It's still it's very cheap to get stuff, especially in the entertainment world. If you need to do some kind of casting, you can find some pretty weird people. But I've been trying to get haunted items, and so and then once
I have one for you,
I had a
by the
lady
way.
said, and it's still sitting in my room. I haven't touched it. We're gonna bring it on the set probably at the end of this thing. But she says this Shrek doll she has was haunted. Now it has not done a single thing in my room since, and I've been waiting every day. I walk into it, I'm like, what you gonna do, man? Come on, no. But it plays Livin' La Vida Loca.
I have a haunted tarot deck for you that you are welcome to have, because I can't throw it away, but every time I use it, my life goes awry. If you leave the cards in the box, it's very happy to live with you.
Yeah.
And that's
I'm gonna
what
get
it
like
does.
a box, like a glass box that's protected with spells.
Yeah.
that it cannot escape.
like the Conjuring couple, you're
Yeah.
just like who has that whole like museum of all the haunted shit. So yeah, well that's great. I love that story. Thank you for telling it, and Shane, thank you for sharing with us. And now we got to get into your books, because
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear about this. My daughter's a little young for I think this, but I think once she grows up, she's gonna love this, because she likes vampires, werewolves. She watches these shows
like Twilight and stuff like that.
yeah, she's not too much into that, but there's like, I guess like I don't know if it's Disney or it's like Monster High.
Okay.
Oh,
It's
yes,
like these
Monster
Monster High dolls and stuff.
Yep.
So you can definitely see that my influence in horror has definitely rubbed off on her.
I love that.
Oh, I know. And since she's been 5, now I did not point this. This is her mother. Sorry, Shelly, I'm throwing you under the bus. But her mom kind of her mom watches, her mom loves horror too. That's how we had connected when we originally met, like talking about cool, creepy stuff. But she let her start watching the horror movies when she was pretty young. And she's funny. It's funny because we were just talking about how fast our kids grow up, because you have kids.
Yep.
I have a 9-year-old. They're kind of desensitized towards what we thought was scary
Yes.
back then.
Very much
She's
so.
like, Daddy, really?
They have
She's like,
access
that's not
to
scary.
so much.
She's like, you want me to show you something scary? And then she shows me like a Roblox video, and I'm like, come on now. You know, but anyway. But yeah, so the books are called the Hollywood High Chronicles, correct? Okay.
Yes.
Now just go ahead and we're just gonna let you get into this real quick. Yeah, Dizzy,
thank
show it.
you.
We're on camera 1 today. We don't have our other two. We're just because of our technical difficulties yesterday. So the Hollywood High Chronicles. So go ahead, explain what it's about, and we're gonna let you loose for a little bit. Go ahead.
So it's a metaphysical thriller book series that starts off.
Do you mind if I stop you 1 second?
No.
Can you explain metaphysical to the people that do not understand what that means?
I can. So this metaphysical concept is the idea of abilities and things that can be energetically altered
Right.
or controlled or manipulated. And I like that concept, but one of the reasons that it came up, because really what this is a journey of the main character, Melanie, and she, along her route, comes into contact with people that get coined the misfits. And this group of people get thrown into situation after situation as they journey through life that they must work through, which is very realistic. That's how life works.
And Melanie's the main character.
Melanie is the main character.
Okay, we got that.
And we really evolve through her. It starts off, she's very kind of docile and sweet and very shy and unsure. And she is forced through circumstance into becoming a completely different side of herself.
Okay.
So we've got her journey. There are 16 books written, but the 6th one is about to be published.
Okay.
So I've got the 5 out
So
right now.
what are the 5 called? What the first one is?
We've
Let's
got
go.
Intuition.
So Dizzy's
and-
gonna help her. He's Vanna White right now.
Oh my
He's
I'm
goodness.
gonna flip the numbers right now.
Beautiful.
Or the letters, sorry.
There's Dark Water is book 2.
Okay.
And then
Let's hold
we've
that up right there.
got The Surge, which is book 3.
The Surge. Okay.
The Surge.
I gotta tell you, and we were talking. I know a couple of these models. This is great because it's people from here in our local modeling scene.
It's
So, yeah.
very true. Ocean's Inferno.
Yeah.
And then we have Aftershock.
Awesome.
And one of my goals was to do 4 books per school year. And her life evolves so dramatically, as well as the people in her life, that it starts off nice and tame. So for the horror fans, it'll start off tame, and you'll think, how is this horror? Believe me, where it's headed,
It evolves. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I can't wait. I can't wait to sit.
But I can't let that happen until you love the characters.
Right.
Right.
No. You definitely have to have
Yeah,
the character
there's got to be some
development.
character building for
Yeah,
sure. in it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's set in the 90s, Hollywood, which is a cool
When
time.
you said that yesterday, I got to tell you that I love that setting too, because obviously you and I, Dizzy's a little younger than we are, but we are you were children of the 90s. We
Gen
grew up,
X.
we're Gen X. We grew up in the 90s. So we actually used what we grew up with and kind of, we talked about, we kind of pointed this out, but it's, we use our experiences in our life. But I love that. I love things that are taking place now. It's funny because we used to look back and be like, the 70s, the 60s, it's so old. And now they're using our stuff for the 80s and 90s. And I'm like, holy shit.
Bro, my daughter told me that was it true that I was born in the 1900s?
Oh, yes. I enjoy that.
I was
as
like,
well.
I don't know if I want to take
love
away
it.
her phone for this, her tablet. I don't
I've heard that. I've heard that.
will be a
Because
response.
Melissa Mel has teenagers too.
do.
Mine isn't there yet.
Yeah, you'll get there.
Oh, I know.
It's
I
a
know.
really good time.
All I gotta
Yes,
say
really
is
good.
right now your daughter's at that age where she's all about dad. She wants to go
yeah.
and be
Yeah,
your buddy
yeah,
and do
yeah.
everything. Once she hits 13, I don't want to go with you, Dad.
No, they
I'm
live
gonna
in a
hang out with my
cave.
friend.
Their back cave room. One of the reasons that I chose the setting that I did, other than the fact that I went to Hollywood High, and
Yeah.
so I knew the setting so well, but you've got this coming of age teenage time period, which is already just rife with possibilities,
Right.
Because there's hormones and growing and making mistakes and all of the things that come with that psychologically. And there's also a lot of freedom during that time period. You've
Right.
got a lot of time on your hands. You usually had allowance. And it wasn't odd to parents to be like, I'm going to book it for the night.
Right.
But you don't have the capability to make solid decisions. So that's already interesting.
I love that.
Add to it Hollywood, which is just unhinged, right?
Oh, I bet, especially in the 90s.
Absolutely. And
There
then
was no cell phone cameras then,
That's
you know.
right.
Yeah, so
And in the
Diddy
90s
parties were lit back
Oh,
then
man.
without
Yeah,
any
well.
social
It was
media
all
coverage.
a Diddy party.
It was all a Diddy party.
But I mean, really, the 90s, like
Love
you
it.
just touched on the perfect point, which
Right.
is we didn't have cell phones in our pockets. Nobody was taking pictures everywhere we went.
No.
When we left the house, it was, what time do you want me home? Okay, I'll have my pager on me. And then the
A pager, I know,
landed in
right?
the back seat. You were like done with that, and we're off.
right, and then if you got paged, you had to stop somewhere and try to find a damn payphone. You know, do you remember walking up on payphones and you're just like, well, you're like, and it was like just a quarter back then. You threw it in, and you'd sit there, it's all grimy and gross. Yeah, but back to the books. So. I always wonder, because I ask it. We've got another author coming on too after in a couple of shows. He did a audiobook and stuff. And so one of my big things with this is, how long does it take you to write one of these novels?
I write incredibly fast. I do not experience writer's block. I experience what I call writer's vomit.
Oh, okay.
It's an assault, really.
Does it come in waves for you? Like,
It can,
Yeah.
but the problem is when it hits, I better clear my schedule because I'll have bubble guts for a week. Like I can't
It
sleep.
eats at
I
you.
don't eat.
Right.
Absolutely. So for me to get a book, I'll get a book to the point where it can hit an editor.
Right.
And that takes a good solid couple of months of just writing it and then reworking and filling in gaps. And once I get it editor ready, when I hand it to him, I'm looking at about 6 months between him taking it and then getting through all the steps to where a galley copy has hit my hands and I've gone through it. Any little corrections, we're at the little correction point at that phase, happen, and then I'm able to set, like, okay, it's out.
Right.
So about 6 months for me. With that said, you don't want to release them too fast or too slow. You know, the marketing game.
Yep.
yeah.
But book 6 is about to pop, and I'm really excited about it.
So let's go ahead and make that. Can we go ahead and show? Let's go ahead and make the reveal, and then we'll tell your big news after that.
Perfect.
Okay. So this is the reveal of
That's book cover 6.
6.
Which is Retribution Clause is coming out in June, and I'm really
Awesome.
excited. I'm also excited because it's a bloody cover.
Yeah.
That was so
I noticed
perfect.
that, and I like that.
Yeah, I do too. I like the blood factor in it, and I just got to tell you real quick, congratulations, great way to go.
Congratulations
You know,
on
a
that.
lot
It's
of
awesome.
creators do not have. And we were kind of talking about this earlier. You know, especially with the climate of creativity right now, a lot of things is social media, you know, but I give props where props is due. And I can tell you this right now. I mean, I've written scripts, but I've never written a book. And I give you guys, authors, so much props because this right here is a goal, an accomplishment that I could never do. I mean, I'm a creative in other ways, but when people take their vision and they make it actually happen, and I got to tell you, Dizzy's the same kind of thing. He's a TikToker, he's an influencer, he's a creator, but he has taken this video platform that he's been doing, and he's got a cannabis brand, he's got a chocolate bar brand.
amazing.
He does all these different things. Can I say that you're actually coming out with a music video?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
you could announce it.
I
The
can
song
announce it.
hasn't been out yet.
Yeah,
but
no.
And
It'll
it's
drop
so
with the music
good.
video.
Yeah, Dizzy.
The
We just
song is
listened
so
to it
good.
earlier. It's really great. So Dizzy's going to do a hip hop thing, and we're not going to ruin that too much because that's a Dizzy Lokes thing's not a creative kill thing, but we support our boy 110%, man. And what I'm just trying to get to is when you take your vision and man, this is hard fucking work.
It is so hard. My running joke is, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
My running joke is that it's a good thing that I am very comfortable spending time alone, except for when I'm not, because I spend a lot of time with my imaginary friends.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're in my computer, and they come out of my head, and they go into my computer, and they live in there. And being an author is a really weird thing, because for me, there's this fine line between reality and my book series, and there'll be times where I'm so ingrained in my process, and I am in that moment, and then all of a sudden my kid, you know, and I love him so very much, he'll be like, Mom, I need to go to karate. I'm like, do you not understand that we're in a battle here?
Right.
But he's not, and I
Right.
haven't cooked lunch,
Yeah.
and I didn't make dinner.
Yeah, no, I've gotten to those points where, like, when we were writing our screenplay, and I'm like, everybody leave me alone because I'm in the zone right now.
Yeah.
You know, and I have weird moments of creativity where I'm sitting there and I'm just like, something will pop into and Wolf, he's one of our hosts. He's also my co-writer on our film, but he laughs. He's like, it's so weird because he goes, John will be in the middle of a basketball game. Like, if we're playing basketball, we play basketball on Sundays, and I will stop and say, guys, I got to go write something down, because it's just like something pops in my head, and I have to take notes on everything.
I have my notes full in my phone.
Right.
There's like little scripts
I've written on my arm.
I haven't even done yet.
Right. And that's writers, that's, you know, anybody develop any kind of entertainment thing, stand-up comics especially do that a lot. We work really closely with a lot of comics, you know, and stuff.
It's inspiration, and it'll drift away if you don't. I've taken a Sharpie and written on my arm in the middle of a gala banquet event.
Exactly.
Because I was like, if you'll excuse me,
Exactly.
classy. This is classy. This is process.
Right.
Yep.
So now we want to let Melissa deliver her
let's
great
hear the great
news.
news.
Now, Melissa, go ahead and tell everybody, because she told us this earlier, but we're going to let her go ahead and say something.
I got an email around midnight last night.
Which, by the way, guys, we had the rehearsal shot yesterday. We did not get this news, so
No.
this is new news, and we're really excited to be that the other thing happened, so she can deliver this. Sorry, go ahead.
So I got this email, opened it up, and it was the results of a competition that I entered, book 5 of the series, which is Aftershock into. We won the sequels division of the Los Angeles Book Festival.
Wow. That is
Congratulations.
I'm so
That is
excited. Thank
so
you.
fucking awesome.
was a big
man.
one.
That right there, that's like when and I got to tell you, it's like film festivals, any kind of submission situation that you put your work into and you actually get something back. It is self-gratifying, obviously, because you put the hard work into it. But I got to tell you, I mean, doing 6 books right now is accomplishment enough for me, but that right there is amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah,
We are so
definitely
happy for your
congratulations.
success. That is awesome.
Thank you.
do you-
We're 5 for 5. I've gotten honorable mentions on 2 of them, and then I got runner-up on 2 of them.
nice.
So listen
we
to this,
finally
guys.
won.
Yeah.
So let's-
Congratulations
And
on that.
let's say, so Hollywood High Chronicles, we're still touching on this. So what age group? Like, okay, I know we just talked about we have kids. Charlotte's 9. She's going to be 10 next year. I think it's a little too. Am I right? Is it a little too? Go ahead.
It's a
Just
little
I'll let
too
you-
much for somebody that. So my conservative recommendation, because most people are more conservative than me. I'm a
Right.
little bit of a live wire. My conservative recommendation is 16 and up, and you're probably safe if your kid has heard a few cuss words and dealt with a few things.
Oh, my daughter has heard a bunch of cuss words. So
I think that she would do great.
yeah, she
Now,
would do great with your books.
Parents know their kids better, but
Yeah.
to be honest, my eldest fan who contacts me regularly is in her 80s.
Yeah.
I have a lot of Gen Xers that are reliving the glory days in the 90s.
Yeah.
But it really spans all ages. I really don't recommend below 16 unless your kid is that kid that you're like, she got this.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Yeah, Dizzy, I think your daughter, this is probably the
This
perfect
is right
age
up her
rate.
alley.
Yeah,
because
And I
because
have
she
some
loves
for
this
her.
type of stuff.
I
Oh
brought-
my god!
I brought everybody gifts.
Oh my
Oh my
god!
gosh,
Thank you
that's
so much for
awesome.
that.
Absolutely.
My daughter is gonna be absolutely thrilled with.
Very
I can tell you this right now. She likes to read, and this day and age, it's kind of a rarity with kids.
It
feels
is a
like.
rarity.
Turn the book
Yeah,
pages.
she
It
likes
is
the
good.
pages. She doesn't like the digital ones.
Yeah,
she likes the pages.
same with Charlotte. We've kind of ingrained into her that the tablet versus the actual
book.
reading literature out of a book is a different kind of
And
thing.
it sticks
I wanna
more.
smell
Yeah.
the pages. I want
Right.
a tactile
Right.
involved.
And I think it's more memorable, like you said, when you sit there and you're just flipping pages and it's physically in your hand and you actually get to keep it on your bookshelf where you look at it and said, I read that. You know, and then you can explain to people or give the book out to somebody and be like, hey, just bring it back.
But
You know
but
what I
even
mean?
at that, I mean, just being able to read a book and then read it all the way through, and then being able to tell the story back to people of what you read. I mean, that shows a very high level of intelligence. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think for these kids, I got to tell you, their attention spans are very low right now. You know, but the cool thing about the series of books that I like that you do, is that they have something to look forward to the next book.
Right.
And I'm not going to, I don't like to compare things, but let's just say Harry Potter, right? Sure. So they took Harry Potter. You just said this. It's like your first book's it's a lot less
sweet.
controversial. It's sweet. And that's kind of how Harry Potter started, you know?
Because then it gets darker.
But I like that because I also think it's a great experience for kids to know when they are growing up with this series of books and it's growing up with them.
Right.
It is.
So it's something they could look back on and say, hey, I remember reading. Did you remember these series?
Yeah.
I used to read them in school, and it's like nostalgic.
One of my favorite series when I was a kid, and I know this is it's definitely not a series, but we had these books called Choose Your Own Adventure. I don't know if you remember them, where you got to flip the pages, like you can go to this page or this page. And man, I was addicted to those things. I was a Hardy Boys guy. I was anything horror. And then my mom. Obviously, my mom was a big horror nerd too, because that's how I kind of got into it. And my dad also, but they had the Stephen King books. And as soon as I got old enough to be able to read one of those things, it was over. I was like, sorry, kid crap. Now it's time to start reading some bloody violence.
You know what? Just out of curiosity, I want to get one more question in.
Sure, go for
it. As being an author, who is an author that is an inspiration for you?
Mercedes Lackey.
Okay.
I enjoy her. She creates. She's more of a fantasy writer, but she creates these worlds.
I'm not familiar with her. What's her work?
She's fantastic. She does a lot of trilogies.
Okay.
And it's all very fantasy related.
I love that.
But one of the things that I like about her is that she creates these worlds that are so. She's greatly inspired the way I created my world because of how she influenced me. But she creates these worlds that are so complete that you're in them, and then you'll go 85 pages, and then suddenly you take a deep breath and go, "Wait, I'm here." She sucks you in, and I really appreciate. And she's a very real writer. Like she creates characters that have problems and that you can see and smell and hear what they're doing. You know, one of the things that I like about this also, and that I liked about when I found Mercedes Lackey. I like a series that TV or anything where there's enough of them out that if I really like the first one or if I'm at least curious, I dive into the second and then I'm like, okay, so where's the third? Just get them all.
Right.
And I've had a lot of fans that have come to me and said, okay, I've reread the first 5 like 3 times in the last 3 months, and I'm going, okay, the 6th one's coming. But I like when there's a series that has enough out that you can kind of hop in, and there's a little bit of meat there for you to play in until
you're anticipated for the next one.
Right. So Melissa, let me just ask you this now: where can we find the books? Where do we get them? Where do we buy them? Tell our whole audience, Creative Kill people, if you have teenagers, you want to get them into this book series. So where do we get it?
Or if you need an escape for yourself,
or even an escape for yourself. I'm just, I like to plug the teens because they're the ones that they love this kind of stuff. So
absolutely. So you can go to MelissaVelascoBooks.com or HollywoodHighChronicles.com if you want signed author copies, and I sell them for the same price or pretty close to the same price. But then you have to go through that route. Or we've got them on Amazon. We've got them on BarnesandNoble.com.
Nice.
Okay.
They are
so all the big platforms.
All the big platforms,
Gotcha.
and we've got them in ebook. We also have them in book paperback form. But on the website, we have so much world building stuff we've done. Characters have interviews and Spotify playlists.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
You know what?
Awesome.
I can't ruin our little project, but I just love what you did right there because you're integrating your website and doing all these different things about the characters that have nothing.
We've got a Google map of all the locations.
See, that's what I'm talking. So people, this is what I'm talking about. You get in, you go to Creative Kill, you meet creative people like this. This is awesome. That's great. That's so cool.
There's going to be something coming up. Spoiler alert: The Vault.
We've
decided to do The Vault, and if you're a newsletter recipient, and the newsletters are sent out, they're you're talking to a character.
Right.
A character sends it out, and they're like, "Hey, Victoria here, and I'm going to ruin your life."
Right.
And then they have little things where you can go and click on them and get a couple of chapters out of the book that she just gossiped about. If you haven't, purchased book 4 or whatever, But the vault is going to be a good one. If you're a newsletter recipient, you'll eventually get codes to get into the vault where there's cut scenes, cut chapters,
Right.
an entire. Well, I'll
That's
save that
so
one, but
interesting. Yeah,
there's
guys,
some
this
cut
is a big
stuff.
teaser. So that is so great, Melissa. Well, I got to tell you, thank you so much for coming on with us today.
Yep, thank you.
I am really excited about this, and thank you for your gifts. I think we
thank
may
you
have
for
some
the
books
gifts.
over
We
there.
appreciate that.
I definitely will get Charlotte into these when she gets to be that age. But Dizzy, you got to get your daughter in as soon as
I
possible.
might even just read it first
Yeah,
before I
there
give
you
it to her.
There you go.
I could read. I like to read.
You know, my daughter and I did that too. We read together. We've gotten into. She likes the Dogman books right
Yes,
now,
my son
and
does.
stuff like that. She's gotten into some of these. I forget what it's called. She just brought it up to us. I went and saw her during the Easter break, and it's a ghost, some kind of ghost. It's more geared towards kids, but it's about this kid who becomes a ghost or something. And she was like, "Daddy, I got to tell you all about it." And I was like, "Well, we'll read the series when you come over this, because she comes with me during the summer." So, anyway, Melissa, I've got to tell you everybody her name. So go ahead and plug your website one more time for us again. Tell everybody.
HollywoodHighChronicles.com.
Okay,
right.
and you have MelissaVelasco.com, you said too?
I have MelissaVelascoBooks.com,
Books.com.
and then I'm on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah,
Hollywood
we'll plug
High
all of
Chronicles.
her. We'll plug all of her socials in the YouTube video, and then obviously, guys, we share all kinds of stuff, reels and clips, and she'll be plugged in all of those too. We really, really appreciate you today, guys. So, but we've got to wrap up this show, okay? So, Melissa, thank you so much. So, everybody
very
at
much.
Creative Kill, I want to thank Melissa. Dizzy, this awesome show. This was a really good one. We do apologize about yesterday, Melissa, but I think it turned out a little better.
I think it was a blessing in disguise. 'Cause
Yeah,
I think
well,
we're able to touch more things.
And it was
up
our
today.
first technical difficulty, which I'm checking that up to. Like, that's our first technical difficulty.
I loved it. I
Yeah,
had
I
a
know.
great time.
Yeah, we had a really good, and then we've spent 2 days together, and I've learned so much about you. I love this. She does her dance, everything. Look her up, guys. She's an amazing person. Thank you for being on the show. And we got to, right now at Creative Kill, we got to plug our sponsors one more time, guys. We want to thank 519 Studios in the city of Albuquerque. We want to thank Joy Horror Entertainment. Thank you, Michael Joy. We want to thank IPS Global Security, all things security, alarms, cameras, security guards, response. You got to just get it all. They're the top-notch guys, and I think they're kind of I got to look more into their stuff, but they're overall every state. I think you can get them. I know they're in California and New Mexico really big. I think they're in Nevada, Arizona, stuff like that. But if you need security for your home or your business or whatever, IPS Global is the security company for you. And finally, from Venom Haas, guys, check this out. It'll be up all on our Instagram page, and go to their Instagram page and you can get this game. But it's like Cards Against Humanity, but it's called Serial Killer.
That's
And-
right up my alley.
Yeah,
me
yeah,
too.
yeah, exactly. I'm definitely wanting to. It's like what they said. It's like everybody has murderous thoughts, and I definitely have murderous thoughts, right? That's what it says on this thing. So it's a lot of fun, but we want to thank every single person that has supported Creative Kill at this point in this show. We have some executive producers that'll be credited on this, but I just want to go ahead and name them right now. Thank you, Scott Hargrove. Thank you, Jim Lujan, and thank you, Ron Hoyle. You three have helped us made these series of episodes happen. You guys are nothing short of amazing. And other than that, guys, we're going to go ahead and close out the show and tell you guys thank you so much for joining us here on episode 8 of Creative Kill. I think I'm sorry, 8 or 9. It'll be up there. Sorry. I'm kind of getting to this point to where it's like they're all kind of coming together. We're doing it at the 12 episode run, and as soon as the 12th episode's finished, we're going to jump on another platform, and hopefully it's going to be a lot bigger success, and these shows will be on that other platform as well. But Melissa, thank you again so much. And guys, thank you for joining. Oh, it's all good, guys. Thank you for joining Creative Kill, where the guest always has a killer experience. Join us next time. We'll see you guys soon. Like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of our socials, and we'll see you next time. Right. Wow, that was such a great show, guys. I really appreciate you guys, okay?
Yep.
Melissa, I'll
Thank
take
you,
care.
Melissa.
I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
But real quick, Melissa,
I appreciate it.
I do have some questions about the book before you go. So I've noticed there were some familiar faces on here.
Yes, so
Which
many
character
local models.
is this?
I'm gonna find
Okay,
a scene.
cool. Yeah.
And right before her book drop,
Well, I mean, you gotta kill Velasco.
Yes. It's turns. All right, let's get out of here. Let's go get something to eat. Are you hungry?
Yeah, yeah.